Well, today is quickly turning into a zoo. I last night we kind of got back on track. Purple Aura was great. 1 2 Skip a Few was great. Simba was great. Of Tom was a little tired. As I said earlier, I think it's time just to turn her out. I mean, what are we gonna race her for? Just to race her? It makes a little sense just to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. This is a filly that did put 100 pounds of weight on, that does look good, but she is a baby. She is a 2-year-old. And there isn't a human being with a set of eyes in their head last night that can't say she didn't look tired. So when it comes to Of Tom, we're just going to kick her out, turn her out. So that's what she deserves. She's had a decent year, but I think anybody that watches horse racing or watches horses can tell that there's something there. She's a talented filly. Awful big for a 2-year-old. So, but this video, aside from what I have to do, I have to fly to Yonkers Friday, I have to come back, I have to ship horses home. We're trying to get paperwork done to do that. Horses trained. I got to go train 3 horses here in a minute. But I did want to talk about the groups, right? The partnerships. Stop saying groups. The partnerships that we have formed. So the partnership we have formed is in Ohio. So obviously, when we formed the partnership, I was looking for feedback, right? It was important that we put it together. Both Eric and I talked about it, and it seemed sensible. You know, it had to be enough that it could sustain the sale. At the same time, was it plausible? And that became evident pretty clear that it was. The way that people had bought up all the lots. Now, we built it in such a manner that 75% of the horses would be sold to the partnerships, 25% would be available after 3 days to everybody else. And then, because we built the partnerships the way we did, and they had to be different from the groups, because the groups in some aspects are dealing with fractions of fractions, right? They're dealing with micro shares, and we just aren't set up to get into that yet. Someday I imagine we will, but not yet. So, to maneuver your shares around how you want, right? In the lots, in the partnership, they had to be whole shares. What I mean by that is, each horse had to be 1% or more for each person so that they can maneuver those shares however they want. So after a 14-day period, anybody that owns any of the lots can sell any of the horses in those lots for whatever they want. They're their shares. They can do what they want. Now, we had people saying, well, you know, I'm going to get shut out and then everybody's going to jack up the prices. I know that's what people think, all right, but this isn't a famine. People aren't going to price gouge people simply because it's supply and demand. If I buy a horse for $12,000 right now and put it on the market for $40,000, who's going to buy that horse? Why would you? So I know that there's these voices in your head telling you that somebody's going to jack up the price to a gargantuan amount and you're going to be forced to pay it. It's just not accurate. So I think it will end up opening up a lot of avenues and pushing people onto the private market, which could be good for everyone moving forward. So that's what we did with the Ohio. But I was cognitive to the point that we do have a number of clients that are like that don't have $2,500 to spend on a horse, nor should you. If you don't have it, you shouldn't spend it. And how do we accommodate them? Keep in mind, when I was putting the partnership together, I was just trying to do the best I could and then get feedback like anybody else. So that's what we did. We got the feedback, and the number one complaint was it's too expensive for me to get involved. Okay, I get that. I understand my argument to the point of the private market and other shares being available after. It doesn't really matter for you to buy in real time right now or get involved right now. It was expensive for a lot of people. So moving into Ontario, where we have a lot of clients, I would suggest, without looking quickly in front of me, the majority of our clients are in Ontario, being closely tracked by Ohio. But so how would we work in Ontario? I want to make sure everybody can get in. So I said, well, why don't we have multiple partnerships, like overflow buckets? So we make the first partnership for $30,000, right? And we have once we sell out, that would be $300 a lot. Once we sell out those lots, overflow, we move over to a much larger scale one. I was thinking 30, 70, or 30, 50, 70, and see how that goes. That makes a lot more sense to me, I think. Now we are going to have, like last year, we had Century Invictus, who is almost $70,000. That's a different item. That isn't a horse I can just stuff into a partnership because it takes up almost all the room. So we would have to have that horse sold outside the confines of the partnership. And for me to buy a Century Invictus, I would have to have 30, 40, 50% of him spoken for before I ever bid on him. I'm just not going to go buy a $70,000 horse and say, anybody interested? No, I can't do that. I don't have the money to do that. So, I think that's what we'll do moving forward. Now, let me know. This is going to be locked in place within the next 72 hours. So I'm interested in your feedback. I'm thinking we started off with a $30,000 partnership, right? That's $300 a share, and I'm going to sell all 100 lots, all of them. There'll be none left over. That would be $300 a share for 100 shares. Now, the next question I got was from someone, and I get it. Pat sent me it. A couple other people did. Said, well, I want to pick my own horse. So who's going to populate these partnerships? Well, I am going to have to draw a line at some point, and I am going to partner. I'm going to put the horses in the partnership. Now, you are free. And if we sell all 100 lots, there will be no restrictions. So the next day, you can sell your lot for whatever you want. There'll be no 14-day period because I won't need 14 days to sell my lots because I won't have any. So I am going to open it up the next day. $300 buy-in. It'll be $300 Canadian plus taxes because it is Canada. It is in Canada, and it will be a Canadian sale. So it'll be $300 plus HST to buy in to the $30,000 lot. When those lots are full, all 100 of them, we'll move on to a $50,000 lot and a $70,000 lot. That way I'm not going to get burned down the road. And I will be the one that decides which horses go in those partnerships. And for those of you out there saying, well, I want to pick my own horse. Let me just break it down for you. What you're saying is, Anthony, I want you to buy all the horses you're going to buy, and then when you're done buying them, then I'll pick your horses. That's not going to happen, just so you know. It is absolutely not going to happen. I cannot continue to, and it was a horrible business model. It was extremely risky from day one. You have to understand what went into me purchasing those horses for you to decide if you like them or not. I had to go and hustle and work with farms and work with clients to buy those horses to put in there, pay them back so that you could decide if you like them or not. And that's just not plausible. It's just not going to happen. So if anybody wants to be involved in Ontario, that's how it's going to work. And it'll be like a puzzle. If I have a $30,000 partnership, then I'm going to try and fit $30,000 worth of horses in there. Now, if it comes to $28,000, you'll have a refund for the difference. I don't think I can go over. So that wouldn't be fair to anybody. So it will be under. It'll be 30 right on or under. And if it comes to 26, then everybody will have a small refund or a small credit on their account. And that's only fair to everybody, but it won't be over 30,000. So that's where we're at right now. I want to hear from you. If you're watching this video, I think it's important that you send me some feedback back to me if you're interested at all in being involved in this the Ontario partnerships. I think it makes total sense to go 30, 50, 70. That's obviously $150,000. If we end up buying a Century Invictus type item for Ontario, then that particular horse, somebody will have spoken for and said, hey, Anthony, are you interested in a hip number whatever at Harrisburg, Lexington, or the Ontario sale, whatever? Yeah, geez, that's an interesting prospect. Let me do some research, and then I'll reach out to a number of other clients and say, is anybody interested in this horse? This horse will go for good money. I suspect it'll go for this amount. And at that point, if we have a lot of that horse sold out, which we did with Century Invictus, I think I was at 65% last year before I even bought him. That was up to $70,000. So in that case, that will be separate from any partnerships, much like the Ohio Colt was. And for those of you out there saying, Anthony, don't worry, you had no shares left last year. That's because I had to push. I had to beg people virtually to buy the shares of Mischievous Rose, to buy the shares of Slim Jimmy, and I'm not doing it anymore. I can, but I'm not doing it because I absolutely have to. Every day that I take peddling shares to people on the phone is a day I could use to market and advertise the stable.ca, our horses, our partnerships, what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, why it's good for horse racing. I've taken a lot of time away from building what we have right here to do something that I shouldn't have to do. So, and the argument that is you should have to do it, it's your job. You're right, but I'm not going to do it in that manner any longer. So, and I hope you all understand why. I shouldn't have to. I worked my butt off, and so did everybody in that barn, in the barn in Ontario, to ensure that we built a model and built a program and built a barn. One is professional. 2, does a pretty good job across the board everywhere. And 3, makes it affordable for everybody to get involved. Those were the key pillars, right? The key pillars for the stable.ca. Affordability, professionalism, transparency. I don't think anybody can say I'm not transparent. I do my best to be professional. So what we built is a system that works, but it was built on a lot of extra labor. And I would like to take the energy disposed in selling shares of horses and put it towards marketing and advertising like I'd done in the past. So 2021 into 2022 is going to be a big jump for us. I plan on doing a lot of interviews, as I said, marketing, advertising, and pushing not just the stable. This isn't just about the stable. This is about fractional ownership in general for our sport. Now we are entering a new phase. Now we are coming out of, or we will eventually come out of, the remnants of this pandemic. And when we do, you are going to see people looking urgently for value in their entertainment. And we can beat every form of entertainment. So it's implicit right now that we start putting things in place, putting the wheels in motion, so that when the general public is ready, we're waiting. They're not all ready just yet. There's still a lot of fear out there. There's still a lot of these variants floating around, and as we get more people vaccinated, and as we get more I don't want to turn this into a political speech, but as we get more of society moving forward, there is going to be a push for affordable entertainment, and no entertainment is more affordable than ours. So, big picture, this is what we're trying to do. Little picture, let's focus on Ohio, Ontario, Lexington, Harrisburg, and get our work done for the fall. So, that's where we're at right now. I am looking for your feedback when it comes to the partnerships. This is important. I am going to start locking these in place in the next 72 hours. What I envision, so that everybody can get involved, are multiple partnerships in Ontario. A $30,000 partnership, a $50,000 partnership, and a $70,000 partnership. That should get us well on our way. That's $150,000 right there. And then if we happen to buy an item, a horse that might be a little bit more, that we've worked on, that I said, geez, I really want this horse. I think this horse is going to go for a lot more money. And then put a group of people together for that horse, or at least 50-60% of that horse, then I think that will work out very, very well. So that is the plan. That is everything that has gone on. Yeah, as I said, last night was a good night. We had Purple Aura, 1-2 skip a few. Tioga Sunshine was a winner. Stonebridge Simba raced great. Hopefully we got things back on track. And as I said, the bittersweet news with Jimmy was, yes, he had a bad Sunday night, but we found out why. So we're going to try and move forward with all the horses. Jug Week's coming up. If you guys want to come down for Jug Week, please let me know. We will likely have a very large contingent on the grounds of the Delaware County Fairgrounds, multiple days on Jug Week. So it should be a lot of fun. I have to be in Kentucky for the final with Blue Bayou Dio. Then the week after that, after Jug Week, I have to go to Freehold for the New Jersey Development Fund. We've Bomb Hugger, Blue Bayou Dio. I'm leaning more every day towards just not going with Unbeatable Kemp. Just rolling the dice and saying, hey, he's here right now. Jog him, train him up tight, get him ready in case he does draw into that Commonwealth final. And if he doesn't, out to the field. And I think every day, as I said, this is a fluid calendar every day, but this is where I'm at right now. So, lots going on, lots to do. Please give me your feedback. As I said, I am going to start locking these partnerships in place and reaching out to people. The number one concern was affordability. I think this is the way to attack it. We're going to go with 3 partnerships in Ontario to start with. $30,000, $50,000, $70,000. We're going to start with the $30,000 one first. So if you're interested, get in, because once they're gone, they're gone. We'll talk to you all very, very soon.